welcoming you. By the way, the meeting is being recorded just for purposes of making sure that those who are not able to attend can view in the future. The discussion that happens later in the meeting will not be part of the recording. I am speaking on behalf of myself, Hyla Mays. I'm on the consultant team and leading on that side, and we'll be doing much of the presentation along with the rest of the team here. Also acknowledging Nick Fisher, our project manager at Ramsey County, and Anna Potter, our lead at the City of St. Paul, who are integral to the leadership of this project. Next slide. So welcome. I am going to turn it over to one of our fantastic artist team members, Malik Curtis. One feature here, we'll talk about it a little bit later, is artists being part of this process is key because of the wonderful insights they bring and because of the authentic connections to community. So I'll let Malik speak for himself in terms of his spoken word piece, but take it away for us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Malik Curtis. I'm an artist from Twin Cities and, from St. Paul specifically. And, I'm happy to be here. This piece I got today, it's been a while since I got in my poetry bag, but it's from the heart. It's called A Field of Dreams. Here it goes. Like roses, like roses that grow from concrete, Rice Street has a field of dreams, where many kings and queens roam and call home. Through hardship and differences, the love has grown. Long live Bones, Rice Street's very own. When I think of Rice Street, I think of my youth, the community that nurtured and guided us, innocent children through things we were oblivious to. Martial arts at Washington, where kids with dreams went to school. Batting cages where the Winfields gave space for us to swing through. The trauma or things we face, mamas and coffee cup fed us, and with each meal we gave thanks. Rice Street has a field of dreams, better yet dreamers, that simply need more resources and places where the creators and community can plan. Time is always flying, each time we blink, so let's water the land, so the roots don't dry out and the garden can expand. A field of dreams, or dreamers in Rice Street advance. Yeah. Hopefully that was cool.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think that you set a high bar in terms of that. Nothing we will follow will be as poetic or as heartfelt, but please keep in mind that is the thought here. And certainly when we're working through this, we want to make sure we're really connecting with the people who matter, the people of the community. So, Nicole, do you want to take it?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Malik. That was beautiful, and it really speaks to the heart of the project. And thanks for sharing a bit of your heart with us as well. So on a less cool note, talking about meeting considerations, just a reminder to please stay on mute as we go through our presentation, and please use the chat if you have questions throughout. So if something pops up, go ahead and just throw that in the chat, and we will address those at the end of the meeting. And just a catch-all reminder to please respect different ideas and perspectives throughout this meeting, because when we listen to others, we can grow. So please remain respectful and open as we continue our discussion. With that, I'll turn it back over to Hyla.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm going to talk through some of the overview of this project, sort of where this project came from, what we're trying to accomplish here. Don't worry, a little bit later, we'll get into actually what the project is in terms of the details, but this is to help us all understand what we are trying to accomplish here together. Again, this really is about a project that benefits the people of Rice Street, and I'm grateful that we get to work on a project with Ramsey County, City of St. Paul, and other partners in the area that are looking at this as not just a bunch of pavement. This is about a place that has to work for the people here. The list of goals here is pretty lengthy, but we are embracing that as the challenge of this project, making this a safer place to walk around, to improved transit that serves the needs of the community, improve safety, make it a safer road for all travelers, thinking about development opportunities along the site of the area. What are vacant sites? What are sites that could use investment? Again, community serving, not for somebody else, for people here, but acknowledging that. Improve bike connections, actually bike connections, since there's kind of a gap in the network here. A mobility hub, we'll talk about what that means a little bit later, but some improvements for people walking and biking here. A better public realm, greener, better spaces along the corridor, and certainly a partnership model, which is, as we've already seen, different agencies, different partners, different community members working together for common goals on the corridor. The map here shows basically the extent of this partial Rice Street project, from John Ireland at the south, all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue West at the northern end of the corridor. As a reconstruction project, this is an opportunity to completely rethink the street, because all the pavement out there, everything between the buildings is going away and will be replaced. Next slide. This is a project timeline that walks through the steps of where we stand from when this project was first initiated last year through when you'll actually see construction out there. So last fall, winter, some of you may have been involved in our engagement at that point, because we talked to the community about what is important, what are the priorities, and the goals you saw on the prior slide were informed by those. We're sitting here now in spring or summer of because it's spring still, of 2025, to talk about potential designs, some options for what this corridor can look like. You can see us again later this fall, when we'll be narrowing it down further to get more of a recommended design and to start thinking more detailed of what that looks like, filling in some of the details that matter about how this will look and feel and how people will use the space. By late 2026, we'll have worked through the design to the extent that by spring 2027, we anticipate starting construction. I should say, I believe the intent is to start and complete the construction within one season, so that it's not multiple seasons, but there's certainly other construction in the area that we can talk about as well. We are coordinating with a number of other projects around this area, looking at the different opportunities to make sure that when all these things are happening, they're adding up and providing something that's more than the sum of its parts. We want to make sure that hopefully from the public perspective, it feels well coordinated and that things are working in the same direction rather than coming in and flying from different angles. I won't claim that we're an expert on all these projects, but we certainly are talking to the people involved in them pretty regularly. I'll talk very briefly of what each of these means. We can answer, again, general questions, but again, we're not the subject matter experts on these. There are other project people involved. The MLK, sorry, can you back? I would talk really briefly through each. MLK Junior Boulevard and Community Commons, that's the improvement around the Capitol Mall itself. We're working with the CAP board and other partners, how the improvements are being made to the Capitol Commons area and to the broader area connecting to the area, to that district. The CAP board is an active partner at our table in many of these meetings. Metro Transit G-Line, the corridor which will run down Rice and Robert, new BRT, bus rapid transit facility, is on the same timeline as our project. And we have an overlapping team so that the stations being designed and the plans for how that will function are being closely coordinated with the Rice and also with the Robert project, which is a different project. The John Ireland Bridge over I-94, which is a near-term project through MnDOT, is also part of the discussion here. You'll hear from Cody later, our lead on the design team, how that is being integrated into the idea around Rice and John Ireland. The Rice Street Reconstruction project north of here, which you'll see as 4 on the map, Rice being, that portion of Rice is under construction this year. And if you're in that area, you'll see construction zone aspects. Some of the same team members, so certainly a continuation of the conversation and certainly a precedent for what happens here is what that's underway. Capital City Bikeway Phase 3. On the map, you'll see multiple legs because it is a multi-leg process. City of St. Paul led, you're getting a premium bikeway facility experience being built into the downtown. And we're thrilled that this project will connect the dots. So you'll have a connection, a high quality connection all the way up to the northern suburbs at this rate and probably beyond at some point, right, Nick? Sears site redevelopment and other developments. We literally talked to the Sears site staff earlier today, and we will be talking to them regularly. There certainly is a lot of questions about the timeline of that, but we want to make sure that it, again, is aligned with the project goals and that we have a good understanding of how they work well together. And the Wabasha Capital City Bikeway, again, part of the bikeway network being built out downtown, which will be connected with this as well. Next slide. Mentioned earlier the construction timeline. You can see that we will be impacting your corridor for the next few years, starting with this year all the way through 2027, with this segment being 2027. This staging is being done very intentionally. The goal, we cannot speak to the specifics of that today. It's too early, except for, of course, the portion already under construction. But we will be mindful that this is a significant impact to the community, and the detour routes and the planning around that will be done thoughtfully. And it's, again, another reason to sign up for updates, so that the updates will continue past the construction phase and past the design phase into construction as well. Next slide. Turning it back over to Nicole to talk about prior engagement.
Yeah, thanks, Hyla. So engagement is a really fundamental part of our process here as we're connecting with the community, because we know that your feedback is going to help shape this beautiful project that we're building, and we really want it to be community informed. So in our prior phase of engagement, we really wanted to get out with the public to discuss existing conditions data, and that's really a technical way of just saying what is working out there today and what isn't. So we did a number of different outreach methods to connect with the community during this phase, getting our project website updated, connecting with a lot of great community stakeholder groups and newsletters. We also did a mailing and did several door hangers to businesses and residences along Rice Street. We also sent out a number of email and text updates and social media posts. And really the cornerstone of that engagement was our open house on November 19th last fall. Actually, that should say 2024. Excuse that typo there. And we had a good conversation with the community at this event and heard a lot of great feedback. So I won't go through each comment here in particular, but some of the key themes that we heard really revolved around traffic and transportation improvement. So there was a general desire to make crossing safer, make speed slower, and kind of addressing some very pointed things such as, you know, the Pennsylvania Como left turn desire, the intersection of 12th, John Ireland, and Rondo, how that intersection is a little bit cumbersome, looking at what we can do there. So heard some great feedback in that regard. We also heard a lot of comments for safety and security enhancements, whether it's adding better lighting or cameras in the area, and really addressing some of those safety concerns was another priority that we heard from the community. In addition, cleanliness and maintenance was another desire, just to make sure that this portion is cleaned up, trash is picked up, and really improving our accessibility in the area. And then finally, a general call for community and business development. So really wanting to draw in more folks to this area, whether it's restaurants or other places of business or people in general, and really beautifying the space with nice green space or benches or other amenities that would make this area even more welcoming and inviting for the public to come and stay and gather as a community. And as you heard from Malik here, and we have several other artists on board during this current phase, we do have an artist team that will be connecting with the community through a number of pop-ups this June. More information coming on that later in the presentation. But that will be another great thing that we're doing during this phase to continue to connect with you all so we can learn what matters most to you. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Cody to talk through our different design concepts for Rice Street.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. So if you can go to the next. So just starting off talking about Rice Street today. So Hyla mentioned we are looking at Rice Street from John Ireland Boulevard on the south end up to Pennsylvania Avenue on the north end. And in the middle there is University Avenue. And that kind of becomes a critical point along the corridor for a few different reasons. One, the area kind of transitions from the north to the south, and we have some different right of ways or width of that transportation system. Two is it's a county roadway to the north and it's a city street to the south. But again, here on the left side is Rice Street north of University. It's largely a 4-lane roadway, some parking available on both sides and some sidewalks, pretty urban nature, buildings on the right of way. So in that section, you can think of that right of way width as building face to building face. And then as we go south of University, the right of way does widen out a little bit. It's largely a 5-lane roadway. So you have 2 lanes in each direction plus some left turn lanes, sidewalks. And then on the west side is some open space or the Sears site. And on the east side is some parking garages, MnDOT building, state office building. So those are kind of the 2 area contexts we're looking at. If you go to the next slide, the large piece that is carried forward in all of the concepts is putting in Rice Street as a 3-lane roadway. So again, north of University, this would be a 4 to 3-lane conversion. Instead of having two lanes of traffic going in each direction, they'd have 1 lane in each direction with a 2-way left turn lane or a distinctly one direction or the other left turn lane. Some benefits to that include some crash reductions, especially reducing rear end or left turn crashes. It does provide fewer lanes that bicycles and pedestrians have to cross, especially when you're at unsignalized intersections. That does leave more space in the right of way for the inclusion of bicycle facilities, street parking, bus stops, other curb extensions or other uses, including greening space. It also simplifies some of the left turns, especially from side streets, and having those dedicated left turn lanes to get onto the side streets. It does provide some smoother traffic flow as you eliminate the weaving that you get as cars are turning left or turning right, and the cars behind them weave around them, which leads to a lot of those rear end crashes. So if you go to the next one, so that was the roadway section for the bicycles and pedestrians. A couple different options we're looking at. One would be a shared use area behind the curb outside of the roadway that's shared by both the bicyclists and the pedestrians. The benefits to that is it takes up less space having that one combined facility. That leaves more space for other amenities, such as more greening or tree space or other amenities. The challenges as you increase the number of pedestrians and or bicyclists, that can create some issues with folks knowing where they should be on the path when others are passing. Also gives some issues for people that have some low vision or blind disabilities on how they navigate that space. So the other option then would be a 2-way cycle track or 2-way bikeway. So again, this is a bicycle facility that is both separated from the roadway behind the curb, but also separated from the sidewalk through a number of amenities or other installations. So obviously the benefit to that is you have clearly dedicated spaces for both the bicyclists and the pedestrians. In doing that, that does take up more space. So there are some trade-offs on how that cross section of the roadway and bikeway and sidewalk end up, and what can fit into that space and what may have to fall out to get that separated facility. So that brings me to getting into the actual design concepts for Rice Street. And I will add to online, there is a virtual comment tool that has the full layout, 2-dimensional layout of these concepts that gets into more of the details on how all of the different intersections or driveways properties look like along the corridor. So this is the high level. So concept one is taking that two-way bikeway or cycle track and running it along the entire corridor from John Ireland up to Pennsylvania. Critically, this connects into down at the south end, the future St. Paul Capital City Bikeway that's coming up Wabasha, St. Peter, and over on 12th Street and connecting into this project at that 12th Street, John Ireland Rice Street intersection. So you can see here the 3-lane roadway. To the left or to the west would be that two-way cycle track, and separate than the sidewalk area. And again, as right-of-way changes, and this cross-section will change a little bit as you go along the corridor, but this is the general thought process there. We are also looking at medians, both at Charles Avenue and then another one south of Fuller Avenue. And then that does leave some boulevard space for trees and greening. I'll add too that the median south of Fuller Avenue aligns with the future Metro Transit BRT Gene Line station there. And then the median up at Charles is kind of bike boulevard crossing with very few left turns coming in or out of Charles. So concept 2 then would be our shared use path. So here's a section north of University and how that come together. Again, 3-lane roadway, some opportunities for parking along one side or the other. Same idea on the medians at Charles and south of Fuller. Again, some more opportunities for greening with that consolidated bicycle and pedestrian space on the west side. And then our third concept is a hybrid of the two. So south of University, so John Ireland Boulevard up to University would be that two-way cycle track that you see in the bottom image. And then north of University up to Pennsylvania Avenue would be the shared use path. So this would connect the Rice Street cycle track to the city's Capital City Bikeway. It would also connect the shared use path north of University up to the shared use path that's being constructed on that separate Rice Street reconstruction project. So that's kind of how the two facilities would get blended together, with University Avenue again kind of being that transition point between the two. The right-of-way south of University is a little wider, so you can get some of the same amenities with having the same separated cycle track, while we get a little more constrained north. So in this concept, we're able to give space for other things by consolidating the bikes and peds into the shared use path.
All right. I will lead us through a series of questions now. So we would love to know what you're thinking off the top of your head. I know that we just introduced some of these to you, but we would love to get your feedback on some of these concepts. So I'm going to launch a poll here that you'll see pop up on your screen. And we're asking you to rate concept 1, which is the two-way cycle track, for some different categories. So how does this concept meet your needs in terms of driving safety and access? You can go ahead and vote on that on a scale of 0 to 5, 5 being amazing and 0 being not so great. Where does that fall for you? The next would be bicycle safety and access. How well does concept 1 meet your needs there? And then pedestrian safety and access. And finally, transit safety and access. So that poll should be up on your screen now. So go ahead and vote and share your thoughts on concept 1, which once again is the two-way cycle track, as you can see on the screen. We'll give folks a second here just to fill that out. I know there's a series of questions for them here, so we'll just make sure people have enough time to share their thoughts. And I will mention that we do have a survey available on the project website with the same questions. So if you're not sure in the moment or don't want to vote, you can always take that survey online later. Give folks just another couple seconds here to share their feedback on concept 1. All right, I'll close this poll. All right. So those results I'm sharing on your screen now. So in terms of driving safety and access, it looks like concept 1 is a little bit spread out between 2 to 5. So not horrible, and some rating it rather favorably. Then as we get to the bicycle safety and access, once again, maybe leaning more towards mid to good there with our ratings. Pedestrian safety and access, similar ratings, and transit, maybe more the middle ground. So thanks for sharing your thoughts on concept 1. Now we'll go to concept 2 and do a similar exercise. Let me pull up that poll for everyone. One moment. All right, same questions, but now you're considering concept 2. How well does concept 2 meet your needs in terms of driving safety and access, bicycle safety and access, pedestrian safety and access, and transit user safety and access? Once again, focusing on concept 2 for this one, which is the shared use path. Give just a little bit more time for folks to fill in their answers for concept 2. Okay. All right, couple more seconds here. All right, I'll end this one. I'll flash the results on screen quickly here. So we're getting roughly 3 is getting the most here with 63%. For bicycle safety, looks like a poorer rating on this one, with one being the most popular answer. Pedestrian safety, a higher rating at 3. And then transit safety, a 3, pretty much won out for this one. Great, thank you for that one. And last poll here on the concept, we'll talk through concept 3. Which is the hybrid option. So that is both a mixture of the 2-way cycle track on the south end and then the shared use path on the north end. So same questions here. How well does concept 3 meet your needs? Looking in terms of driving, biking, pedestrian, and transit. So this is the hybrid option that would include both options, 2-way cycle track to the south and then the shared use path to the north. All right. Just a few more seconds here. Last couple results are trickling in. Don't forget to scroll and complete them all. All right, I'll end this one. And once again, if you didn't get to vote, we do have a survey online with these same questions. So with concept 3, looks like kind of getting some similar responses, with it being a 2 through 5. So good to great, I guess, rating for that one. Bicycle safety, it's a little bit lower of a rating, a 2, with half the people voting on a 2 for that one. pedestrian safety looks like pretty solidly a 3 right in the middle. And then transit looks like more favorable with this option with a 4. All right, thank you so much for your feedback on those and just sharing a bit of your initial insights on the concepts. With that, I'll turn it over to Hyla to talk through some of the key areas along Rice Street.
Thanks, Nicole. As mentioned earlier, that there's a lot of different considerations we're trying to balance here, and certainly space along the corridor is a major one of these. One consideration we have when we're thinking about these different different concepts is how much room in the public right of way or the land owned by the public sector do we have to do this work. To be clear, there's no intention here to buy buildings, widen this road, tear things down, make this a wider footprint than it already is. Well, there might be small adjustments here and there. It's largely using the space that's out there right now is the primary goal. This segment here calls out to the question that there are 2 different segments of this corridor, north and south, and there's a 10-foot difference here between the average width north and the average width south. This doesn't sound like a lot, but it does change how we have concepts out there. We have more room in the southern end to have space for more generous planting areas, for wider sidewalks, for separated facilities, whereas the northern end, it gets tighter and there's more trade-offs and more decisions we have to make about what actually can fit in that corridor. So just calling that out to realize that you'll see different design concepts for those, and it's very much reflecting how much space we can use with the intention that we're not making the road suddenly wider on the northern side. I believe, Nicole, you have a meeting poll to call?
Yes. So with that said, we would like to understand some of your needs you'd like to see along the road. So if you only had to prioritize 2, so in the spirit of having a little bit more limited space, if you had to only pick 2 of these features, which would you prioritize? So the poll should be on your screen. Feel free to select 2 items that you would prioritize in a tighter space. So the options are public space, 2-way bikeway, a shared use path, benches and tables, or on-street parking. So if you had to only pick 2, which would you pick? Seeing the numbers ticking up here. Okay. All right. Give it just a few more seconds. All right, we'll end this one and share the results. So it looks like of all of these needs, the need for public space was rated the most highly, followed by shared use path. That's very insightful. Thank you for sharing your feedback on that.
Thanks, Nicole. Again, as we were looking at this corridor, as if anyone's been there, which I'm guessing most of you have, you know that there is this area, this corridor has a lot of sort of sub areas that have a very unique and character that requires a special treatment. While we have the general cross section seen earlier that says we're applying that, it's going to vary a lot based on location. Slides are going back and forth. Which one should I go with?
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. We're on the mobility.
Okay. it clicked a little bit.
Yeah.
We will talk about both of those, but I will start with the mobility. We have 3 locations along the corridor that have special focus areas where it's going to need additional analysis and additional treatment to make sure that we have the right solutions. And this is including looking at areas outside of the footprint of the project to make sure it makes sense. The slide you're looking at now refers to the first one and one that's of primary concern to us. The Rice and University intersection, if you can picture it, it includes right near the Green Line LRT station. There will be a new G Line BRT station near here. League of Cities, Capitol grounds and Capitol facilities, and the Sears site all kind of converge around this intersection. With the guidance from city plans and from the CAP board plans, there is guidance to make this a special mobility hub area, which means enhanced treatments and enhanced design for a facility that meets multiple mobility needs for people traveling to and from this district. We have a discussion right now ongoing with the partners around the table and with others to talk about what are the most important features in this space. What do people want? What will people use in this area? This is a busy area and frankly, an area where safety improvements will be key. So we want to make sure people can walk, bike, ride transit, and do other activities that are supported in this district, including accessing the many destinations in the Capitol grounds. The pictures you see on the screen are some of the ideas, not even all of the ideas, of what are being considered for this area using existing public space, not just within the right-of-way, but also on adjacent land owned by the state of Minnesota. Some different ideas around here: trees and greenery, greening the area up, public art. What are opportunities? You see a mural, but it could be other types of art, other types of treatments. Wayfinding, just better signage to point towards downtown, towards the Capitol, towards other destinations. Ride sharing through automobiles or other ways of different traveling through the area. Different places to sit and maybe even hang out in this area. Improve pedestrian friendly lighting. And bike and scooter parking and other sort of amenities associated with that. These are all just different ideas of how this could be a place that works really well for the community and helps people who are walking, biking, working, going to school, or otherwise traveling through the area. And I think we have a poll, Nicole, right?
Yes.
About what people would really like to see in the Rice and University area.
Yes, so in that spirit, you have the options here on screen. If you would like to please vote for the top 2 features you'd like to see from this list at the Rice and University intersection. So once again, those options: trees and greenery, public art, wayfinding, ride share, tables, chairs and benches, and improved lighting. Give a few more seconds here as the final results trickle in. All right, so let's take a look. So as you're seeing here, improved lighting is our top contender here with 60% of the votes, followed by trees and greenery. So those are the 2 favorite options based on this group. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Nicole. I'll move on to the next focus area along the corridor. The triangle area. This is where Pennsylvania, Como, and Rice all kind of converge. And I will say this area also is, we've flagged this in our safety analysis as an unsafe location. There will definitely be traffic safety improvements in this area based on just the amount of activities. I think for anyone who's navigated this, you know, with the angles, with traffic coming from different directions, and with a lot of driveways, this is a complicated area. So goals for this area are thinking about how this fits together, thinking about the arrangement of the streets, about the access points, and about other improvements in the area that can make this a safer, better, more livable space. We're considering the alignment of streets and public spaces, and thinking about what are different alternative strategies for this area. Reducing the number of driveways is on the table, retrofitting it with new green space, making room for new development consistent with the city and CAP board plans, and other intersection improvements to make better access and crossings are all things being considered for this location. I think I'm noticing there's some questions in the chat, but I think we will probably get to those at the end, right? For now.
Correct.
The final focus area, the Rondo Avenue, John Ireland, Rice intersection or intersections, depending on how you're counting, is a complicated area. If you can picture this is at the southern end of our study area, right next to I-94, where you cross over into downtown. This is, again, a place where multiple streets are coming together in a very complicated intersection, and we want to rethink how this works and how this is reconfigured. Cody and team are exploring a lot of different design options for this location, just to think about how this will be phased, the spacing of the intersection, how bikes and peds will safely navigate this intersection or intersections, and just other improvements that could make this work better and just be a more functional location on the corridor. As mentioned earlier, I think by Cody and probably me as well, there are also the projects Bikeway on 12th, the John Ireland Bridge, and other projects where we're needing to talk to one another and make sure that everything all adds up. Next slide. I think we're moving over into next steps, and Nicole, you're taking here.
Yes, thanks for that, Hyla. So to summarize kind of our next steps, we've been talking about this a little bit throughout the meeting, but we do have an online survey available for folks to take to share their feedback on these design concepts. I will paste that in the chat now for everyone to access. So that survey will be open until the end of June. So please do go and take that survey so we can hear from you on what's working with these concepts or what isn't. And once again, that will be open through the 30th. In addition, we also have our comment map, which lays out in detail each of the different design concepts. So it isn't just a photo of what it could look like, it's the actual engineering layout, and that was pasted in the chat earlier. So please do click there. You can select which concept you'd like to see. You can zoom. It kind of works like Google Maps, where you can zoom in, zoom out. You can also place comments. So that will be another great tool for you all to use to share your feedback on these concepts. And then we do have some upcoming opportunities for engagement. So we have 3 different pop-up events scheduled in the month of June. First, starting with our Triangle Park Social Hour on June 7th. That's this Saturday from 1 to 4. That will be at the corner of Rice and Como in that triangle area that we had discussed just a few slides ago. And our artist team, as you can see here, are helping host all of these different meetings. We will also be at the Community Peace Celebration on June 20th, if you'd like to come and learn more. And then the Little Mekong Market on June 28th and June 29th. If you'd like to attend any of those events, it'd be a great way to connect with our artist team, learn a little bit more about the project, and do some fun arts-based activities as well. And then finally, once we've collected all this feedback from the public, we will be analyzing that and sharing with the project team to help make their recommendation for the recommended design. So that will be coming out sometime this fall, maybe early winter, on that recommended concept. And we will be hosting another meeting to share out what we heard and what was decided and get some feedback on that as well. So please stay up to date on this project. You can bookmark our website and sign up for email updates. That's usually the best way to learn about upcoming events or opportunities to share your feedback. So please do sign up for those updates. And then if you do have questions or would like to talk to someone about this project more, you can contact Nick Fisher, our project manager from Ramsey County. His number is listed here. And then Anna Potter as well, who is from the city of St. Paul, can also help answer your questions on this project. So with that, I'm going to stop our recording so we can begin our group discussion.